Hi, this is Tom. Today we're going to talk about the valve cover and the valve cover gasket on the MGB. My 1980 has this aluminum one, quite heavier than what I call the tin version. This one is a bigger, thicker structure, and it nestles better on the block to keep the oil sealed. I think historically MGBs have a real problem around that valve cover and its gasket, and the reason lies twofold. Number one, there's not enough land, there's not enough surface, there's not enough gasket land area to get a good seal in the first place, even if you could really torque it down. And torquing it down is a problem, because you're only torquing this bolt and this bolt way over here. Well, now my big heavy cover here, it's pretty stable, solid, has a shape. It goes down on the seal and quite steadily, where the flimsier tin covers, it's like putting your thumb in the middle of a can and pushing down. The sides, the perimeter expands with the push down. You torque down on this on a flimsy cover, it's not going to seat well. The real problem is that when you put the sealant on the cork or on the rubber gasket that goes in there, it's slippery. Oh, you draw down on the bolt, it wants to move. If you squeeze it, you're going to slip that thing around, and you're not going to get a seal no matter what you put on. So the answer is this: no matter what cover you've got, whether you have this heavy, thick one or the other one, the thin tin one that I'll show, either one has the same amount of surface land for sealing. It's quite inadequate. So how do you defeat that? How do you overcome it? What you do is you seal the gasket onto the cover while it's on your workbench. All right? Put the sealant around the cover lip, put the cover gasket on it, and have it dry on the downside so you can set the whole combination down on some newspaper or covering on your bench, and then put a brick on top of the cover, just like it's a little bit of weight to hold it down, and walk away. Don't touch it. Don't try to assemble it. Don't try to take it and put it on the car. You're going to slip and slide that gasket. Let it sit there overnight. Let it cure. Let it stick. Now, the next day or two, when you get back and have time, you pick up the cover. The gasket is stuck to it good. It's not going to go anywhere. Now walk over. Go over and put some sealant or paste, whatever you call it, along your top of your block near the valves. Do that area, getting ready for the gasket to come down on it. The gasket's hooked onto the valve cover. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to slide on the valve cover. However, it might slide on the block. So, how do you line it up? How do you eyeball where you drop this down to drop it nice and square down on the block? One thing to do is, it's a stud sticking up. When you have this cover off, these nuts come off, there's a stud sticking up there. Well, you can put a straw, or go to McDonald's, they have a big thick straw, or your favorite bar. Put the straw on there, something of that nature, so it stands up higher. It gives you a guide post. Now you take your cover up high, line it up. Remember, you got the cover, you got the gasket all sealed, you got the block all sealed. Not overly done, smooth, evenly smooth on both surfaces all around. That's the secret. Not a big puddle anywhere that's going to interfere and slap it out and ooze it out and make a mess. Drop it down slowly, right square on it. Now you got it set. Take these nuts and put them on. Draw them down. Don't wrench the living hell out of it. Just wrench them down so it's snug. And again, walk away. Leave it there. Don't try to mess with it anymore. Patience. Walk away and let that seal set up. Then, a day later, 2 days later, whenever it's comfortable for you, start that motor. Go around it with a flashlight. You got to look at all around the perimeter. Let that engine run. Don't burn yourself. Just get it warm enough. Run it for a few minutes before you go out. And you'll see, you'll be so glad that you waited and it's sealed up tight. That's the whole secret to that. It works for me, and I hope it works for you. And I You know, as an afterthought, when you look at that cover and the way they made them for the MGs with those two bolts drawing down, holding the whole thing, go look at an American car. You'll see screws or bolts all along the perimeter that draw right down where the gasket is. That is the problem. One of the problems. Remember, there are two. They didn't provide enough land down here for a sizable gasket surface, a forgiving gasket surface, and they quench it down with just two distant bolts that just don't come down and hold that gasket in position. So that's the problem. You know, you can put a brand new gasket on, have all intent and reason to doing it correctly, but it slides, it moves on you. So you just got to take your time. Okay? Now, we'll go on to the next one, which is very similar.